Hey everybody, and welcome to Amy Nolte Music. Today we're going to talk about After the Love Has Gone by Earth, Wind, and Fire. This video is brought to you by Nebula. If you want to get my extra bonus video, sign up for Nebula and you can hear me listen to the complete track a bunch of times actually and talk about every instrument and how it plays a part in the magical production of After the Love Is Gone. More on that at the end. I don't want to leave you hanging. This is a great song. Let's start talking about it over at the piano. Here's the intro. For a while, till love was all we could do. It's worth noting that when Maurice White starts to sing this, he's way down low, at least low for me. For a while, it's about as low as he ever gets during the whole song.
For a while, till love was all we could do.
Now, just so you know, on this version, we're going to mostly talk about music theory. We're going to talk a little bit about the instrumentation of the song and the production, but on the extended Nebula cut, that's where I can play real clips from the song and actually whole clips from the song where we can just listen and talk about stuff. So, just so you know, this is more music theory. Love was all we could do. This is 1 to minor 4. And it's especially nice because we keep a pedal point. We don't change the bass note. Love was all we could do. It stays here. For a while, till love was all we could do. I want you to know also that I have made this chart in iReal Pro, and I'll have it up while I'm talking, but I've been so meticulous about trying to get every chord name exactly right. So for instance, this B flat minor 9, I hear all of those notes in this chord in the instrumentation. So, and I also think that it's the tastiest way to play it when you and your band sit down to play it. Sometimes that has informed my decision whether or not I heard it, but most of the time, everything is exactly how I hear it. Okay, so love was all we could do. We were young and we knew this chord. You can hear this sharp 9 in it. And because it has a really strong D note in it, I've named it A7 sus alt. It's an awkward chord to write. You can also hear that there's definitely a sharp 9 in it. I think a sharp 5 sounds good in it as well. I don't think the pianist should play this D. I think it's just a vocalist note. But it's always important for the pianist or the guitarist to know the notes that the vocalist is singing, so I think it's important to write them in the chart, even if you don't play them. You just have to be informed. We were young and we knew in our eyes we're alive. This is all pretty standard. I mean, to go to the A chord is like the 5 of minor 6, which is where we go. Eyes were alive. Now we're on the 4 chord. But here, we come around the back door. We do an E flat 7 with a sharp 11. Deep inside we knew. I put the sharp 11 because it's in the melody again. Our love was true. And we've got this sus chord with a 13 in there because of the melody. But I like to put it in my voicing as well. Love was true. Now, he doesn't drop back down and go, for a while. Instead, this time, he raises it. For a while. That's just genius vocal phrasing. We're going to see so much of it here.
For a while.
What it does is it just elevates the second verse just a little bit. The intensity picks up just a little bit too in the second verse. We just pretty much have strings, well, synth sounds and piano. A little bass sneaks in as well. And we've got a double vocal. Maurice White has doubled his vocal on this.
We paid no mind to the past.
We get a nice piano walk up this time. For a while, we paid no mind to the past. This moves things along. We knew love would last every night. Something right would. Now this time we don't do the E flat, we just go to the 5 chord. Would invite us to begin the dance. we've got a little resolution there, and now we get to this pre-chorus. We're going to go to the 4 chord. 4 chord, it's a great place for a pre-chorus. Something happened along the way, but used to be happy was sad. Right here, we've got a huge chord that happens. It's like a punch. This chord happens. Another interesting thing happens on the pre-chorus, and that's that the background singers sing the melody here. And then we change keys. Something happened along the way. So it's like this is one of the things that makes Earth, Wind, and Fire, Earth, Wind, and Fire. The fact that on any day they could throw at you a crazy modulation like this that just elevates the song. Now, one thing you might see as you listen to this is that the song is in the key of F, right? Wow, this is an F. And when we do this modulation, we're actually modulating down to E. But it doesn't really matter. I mean, it matters, but it's not like we're taking everything down a half step at all, because the chorus happens on the 4 chord. Something happened, and we're here. It's nice and low. Something happened along the way. What used to be happy was sad. We end up on this note. Then, even though we go to E, the melody raises. Something happened, because when you do this, like, you have to remember B flat was the 4 of F, right? And we start on the 5 of that chord. So even though we modulate down in reality, for the purposes of our ears, everything raises. So instead of being on an A, we've gone up a whole step for the melody, and all we needed to get us there was this kind of sus chord. I've called it A major 9, because it definitely includes this major 7 note. And there are a few reasons why this works as well. I mean, it could just be a straight B chord. Something that would have been okay. Something happened along the way. We could have just something, but it doesn't sound nearly as good as this one, and I'll tell you why. Well, the reasons are, when we're in F, and that's the chord we were just on, right? Like, it precedes, F major precedes this A chord. Something happened along the way. We used to be happy was sad. We get a total resolution. These 2 notes are going to show up in the next chord. Still hear them? They're common tones between both chords. And another interesting thing is that B is the tritone substitution for the tonic. It's a tritone away, and that always is a good idea. Something happens along the way. Now we do the exact same thing, but we've got E as our basis. It stays on B for 4 counts, right? So it looked like we were in F, we were maybe going to E, but it's all very tricky. Actually, we go to the 4 of F, happened along the way, we cadence in F. We use this as like I said, it's just like a punch that takes us to the new key. But this is not the new key. Seems like it is, but it's not. Actually, our new key is B. Something happened along the way. Yesterday was all we had. How nice is that? I love those 16th notes. The pulse is slow. So this, the fact that that launches us into the next part, which happens to be the chorus. And we're holding this, and it's just like you just feel those 4 counts like nobody's business, I think. Because when we get to the chorus, we're setting it up. We're like, here's the tonic, and oh, what's that note? It's the 3rd of where we just were. But that's not good enough. Now, I haven't spoken yet of David Foster, Jay Graydon, Bill Champlain. They're the ones who wrote this song. And oh, this is where we go. Check it out. This common tone that was the third of B is now the minor third of C minor. After the love is gone. We've gone to A flat. We've gone to A flat. This C minor chord, after you hear this one and then this one, and then this one, it wants to go to here, yeah. That it doesn't go there, but that's where it wants to go. You can hear that we've modulated from B to A flat, right? Now, it should be noted that David Foster and Jay Graydon, they made their own band. It was called Airplay. They're the first Airplay. Suck it, Apple. And they recorded this song, I think, the way that it was supposed to be. So Earth, Wind, and Fire did this modulation thing that we've just talked about in the pre-chorus that is not what was meant to happen on it. David Foster, Jay Graydon, they did not mean for this something happened along the way, something, they did not mean for that to happen. I'm not exactly sure why Earth, Wind, and Fire did it. Maybe they really wanted to just add a little of their own stuff to it. And to me, it's the reason I'm making this video. Like, little tiny things like that are everything. So this song, in and of itself, the way that David Foster wrote it is gorgeous. It would have been a hit. No matter what, I think. But the fact that they decided to up it and include these jazz elements, because, they had jazz background, like, completely. And so did the musicians in the band. So for them to elevate it like this is just everything to me. All right, let's keep going. So we're here at 4 counts, right? I want to do it again. Yesterday was all we had. And we don't raise that note in the vocal, but the chord raises from here to here. That never happens. You never go from B to C minor, ever, for so many reasons. It's so genius. Oh, after the love is gone. The melody note here is a B flat, which is why I call this chord F minor 11. That's a true F minor 11, and I think this chord is. After the love is gone, how could you leave me? Now, like I said, it feels like we're going to go to A flat. On, but it doesn't. How could you lead me on? All of a sudden, we're on another minor chord. Technically borrowing from the parallel minor. Like, we were A flat major, it sounded like it, but it's just not. We go to A flat minor, and we treat it like a new 2. That's what it is. This is the extreme jazz element. Now, the thing that you would expect to hear, love is lost and found, is almost what happens. That's what we do. We move from the key of A flat to the key of G flat. So everything moves down a whole step. We just have a really cool sus chord. Love is lost. It's here. It looks like B over D flat. Lost and found. Now, looks like we're just going to go, ooh, oh. That's what any normal song would do. That's what our ears expect us to do because we've cadenced in a new place. But, I mean, you could even hear this. You could even hear it if it went to C half diminished, because that would technically stay in the key of G flat, which is where we've just been. Like these notes, almost. These 2 notes come from that key. Like you could hear it like that. But the fact that note, the G flat, doesn't happen, it's a G natural. It's another lift. This song just lifts you and lifts you and lifts you and lifts you all the way through. It must do it like 12 times. Let's talk about that line too. Oh, would have been fine. Oh, it's another common tone. So B flat was in the key of G flat, but it's also a note in C minor 7, right? It's the 7. Oh, after the love was gone. When we do it again. It's also important to note that when you listen to the Airplay version of this song, the melody is different. Earth, Wind, and Fire chose to add this high harmony on the top that actually makes the melody different than the way that David Foster and Jay Graydon actually wrote it. So that's interesting. And it also elevates the chorus by just making it this nice, high, airy, beautiful Earth, Wind, and Fire sounding place to land. Ooh, after the love is gone, we do it all again. How could you leave me on and not let me stay around? This time, we're going to take the second ending, go to a G flat sus or like an E over G flat, move very closely, all of these notes, move to C sus, which resolves, has this flat 9 in it, which also is in G flat, which is nice, to take us back to F for a while, and we do another verse. But we were in G flat, now we're in F. Now that's not such a crazy move, but I like the way they get there. We sus it, then we move to a C sus. All these sus sounds are so Earth, Wind, and Fire. They use them all the time. And all the time in R&B music from this period, we're hearing sus sounds. It's just a sound that I think elevated us all at that time. I'm sorry, I keep saying that word, but I'm talking about our intelligence now, like our musical, our ears, the way that they hear things, the way that they're going to allow us to move to different keys without actually like spoon feeding us dominant seventh chords, like Bach and Mozart did. We've moved away from that. We've got these sus chords now. For a while, and we're in the third verse. We could talk about the lyrics here. This song to me is about two people that really had it going on, and everything was amazing. That's what we hear about at the beginning. For a while, till love was all we could do. We were young, our eyes were alive, but something happened along the way. I like that we don't know what it is. It wasn't like, but you cheated on me, or but I cheated on you, or but life got in the way, or like it's cool that, and I think Bill Champlain had something to do with this too. He helped write the lyrics, something like maybe they couldn't decide what it was going to be, like the thing that moved them apart, and why don't we just say something happened along the way? Because sometimes you can't even pinpoint what it is in a relationship, right? I mean, it's just such a simple way to say it. Like, that's what a breakup feels like. Something happened along the way. What used to be happy was sad. Yesterday was all we had, and that's what it is. So it's like, I don't know, it's not extremely deep, I guess, but it hits the nail on the head. And I think... I actually think it doesn't even matter what the lyrics are to this song, because the melody, the chords, the harmony, the production, everything is so pristine and gorgeous and beautiful and elevating that they could have just been, talking about anything, and it would have been fine. But it's a very nice lyric. The thing that elevates this verse is that Maurice White doesn't sing it the same as he sang the first verse. Listen to this part.
For a while, to love each other.
Again, he's just a master of phrasing. He's a master of motion, moving everything along, making it feel higher than it did the last time. Now, the thing that happens to make the pre-chorus more exciting this time is that we get the horn section. I think it was a couple of flugelhorns, super 70s. This was 1979. Flugelhorn was king. Maybe a saxophone and a trombone, I think. But we hear these flugelhorns. Something happened along the way, and yesterday was all we had. Flugelhorns come in. Bow, 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 bow. And we move back and we do it again. We don't modulate this time. It happens in the same key this time, which is probably the way that David Foster meant it to be. Then the second time, this is when the horns move us. They do that. Something happened along. They just prolong that a little bit. The horns come in. That's enough of an elevation. We don't have to change keys the first time. Something happened along the way, and yesterday was all we had. Something happened along the way. What used to be happy is sad.
Used to be happy is sad.
Then we do this modulation, and everybody's up high now. Something happened along. Elevate. And he goes, oh, and yesterday was all we had. Everything builds. We're back into another chorus. After the love is gone. Another thing that's going on while we're here in the N-O, we've got horns. These are so like Quincy Jones, like just so right for the time. But it happens all the way through here now. We've got horns, we've got strings. The strings don't actually happen until the second time when we hit the repeat here though. How can you stay around? Oh, strings come in on a high E flat. Strings are gonna stay on that E flat too, the whole way through this chorus. It's just, oh, after the love is gone, how can you leave me on? How can you stay? This is when they come down to a D flat. Around. That's another, just a constant that's happening through this whole thing that makes the resolution feel so good. It's genius orchestration. And it would be cool if we just went, oh, and we did it again. We're going to later. But this is actually the place where the biggest elevation happens of the whole song. And it's this modulation that goes, oh, 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 and we're in a brand new key. Let's check it out. Where do we go to? The way that we're going to modulate is we're pretty much just going to move through the diatonic chords of G flat major. Oh, with this note on the top. Oh. There's the 2 chord. Oh, there's the minor 3 chord. Oh, there's the 4 chord. Ooh, there's the 5 chord, but in minor. Ooh, ooh, ooh. There's the minor 6 chord. These are all 7th chords, right? But then we're gonna change. We're gonna go up a whole step. Ooh, and now we're F minor. So before, when we did the chorus was starting on C minor. We have gone a 4th up. That's where we're at now. After the love is gone. And then everything happens. How could it lead? Everything happens just like it does. It's just a direct modulation from where we were before. D flat minor. How could you stay around? But we're in B now. So, right? We were in G flat. Now we're in B. Now that we're on this F part, we've got the horns doing, it's the whole horn section with that. After the love is gone. And it really kicks it up. Everything's just kicked up a notch. We're moving, and the thing that we're moving toward, in my opinion here, we've got nice ad-libs happening by Maurice White. We've got the backup singers. We've got the horn section. We've got the strings now. Everybody's in like just 5th gear. But the thing that we're doing is we're pushing toward the sax solo that happens. This is Don Myrick. Don Myrick, an amazing R&B saxophone player, jazz saxophone player. He was with the Phoenix Horns. He played in the Ramsey Lewis trio. He was on Phil Collins's In the Air Tonight. He's nominated for Grammys, won a Grammy for a different track by Earth, Wind & Fire. This guy can blow. So the time that it comes around, it's so tasty. And let's talk about what it's like to solo over these changes. It just feels like we're in D flat, like this is the minor 3 chord, this is the minor 6 chord, this is the 2 chord. So everything in the key of D flat pretty much works right here. But remember, now we change to minor here. Right? We change to minor, so we've got C sharp minor. And it's like we're in B now. So everything in B is gonna work there, but then here It feels like we should just go to the 4 of B or something, but it doesn't, you know, like until it lands there every time, I feel like you don't even expect it to land there, which is so genius. Oh, after the love is gone, how can you leave me on? I think it's important to hear the melody as I'm soloing. That's so fun. It's so fun to make your way from B back to F minor. Oh my gosh. If you listen to the very end of the song, everything fades away and they let Don Myrick just go nuts. And that's what the end of this song feels like. It's just like a trance that you go into for Don Myrick. That was a lot. Actually, it turned out to be a longer video than I thought. And it's even going to get longer if you go over to Nebula and watch the bonus video I have made about After the Love Has Gone. Here on YouTube, it's a fight to get to play longer clips of songs than like 6 seconds. Even though I'm talking about the details of it, even though I'm teaching you about stuff, it's really hard to claim fair use on YouTube. It can take a long time. You can have to go through several battles with the powers that be. I think they're bots. But if you come over to Nebula, they understand that when I go deep, of course it's fair use. Of course I can use the recordings of beautiful songs. All it's going to do is drive you to go listen to the original, right? It's only going to make traffic for the song go up. They understand that on Nebula because Nebula is a platform built by creators like me. Nebula is a place where I'm just free to be me. There are no comments, there are no likes, there's no algorithm to push you. There are never any ads. It just doesn't feel like it does here on YouTube. And I'm free to explore as much as I want. So there are bonus videos on Nebula. There are extended cuts of the videos that you see here on YouTube over on Nebula. And there are classes of mine, full-length courses, beautifully produced, about all the things that I think you need to know to become a better musician.
I'm thinking about Duke Ellington and the kind of crunchy chords that he might...
Can you show me a couple of those?
Yeah, like...
It's like a whole step above one of the degrees, but you voiced it in the bottom.
Yeah.
Check out my 2-part class, Everything I Know About Chords. Part 1, Part 2. Check out my class about creating motifs for your own improvisation. It can also be for your own composition. I've got a fun class all about the blues with Adam Neely. You've got other music creators that are on Nebula as well, like Adam Neely, like Mary Spender, like Polyphonic. Charles Cornell is there. Plus a wide array of other creators on every topic under the sun. Nebula is also producing great originals that are outside of music. So many categories of videos that are on Nebula. One of my favorites is the Nebula original series, Jet Lag, which is just a bunch of crazy people racing across different parts of the world, playing games, doing smart challenges. It's wacky and it's a great time every time. You can sign up for Nebula using my code. It's $3 a month. It's $36 for a year. One nice thing about Nebula is that when that year is over, Nebula is going to send you an email to remind you to subscribe. And of course, if you want it, I suppose you could cancel. But that's nice, right? It's not sneaky. You can also gift Nebula. You can also gift Nebula to your friends and family. Say you give somebody a year membership to Nebula. After that year is over, Nebula doesn't even have their credit card information. So it doesn't even carry over. They're not trying to trick anybody. They're just trying to help you to gain what you need to gain from this amazing platform. Sign up with my code right here or in the description of this video. It gets you my discount on Nebula. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll see you next time on Amy Nolte Music.